before I begin, I just want to check whether there's any absolute beginners here with us today. Everyone, you are absolute beginner? Just one? Okay, so in that case, I'll just give some basic instructions because I think most of them know what to do. And after that, we'll go into meditation. If you are interested to pick up more methods of meditation, perhaps you can come for the Friday class run by Ajahn Sadaro. So once you come for the Friday class and pick up your techniques, it will be easy for you to just come and meditate with us on Mondays. Yeah, okay. So, so for those of us who are here, who are more or less experienced meditators, yeah, I think before we proceed to really meditating together, just another reminder that we really need to contemplate of impermanence. This is the natural phenomena of the world. All conditioned phenomena are transient. So this is the most important teaching that we have to really understand. So what I'd like to share today is, these 2 days while I've been here, we've been talking to devotees who have been practicing for quite some time. But because our minds have been so conditioned by how we were brought up or how we were taught, a lot of us actually feel quite overwhelmed when a string of negative things happen to us. Even things like meeting with a pipe bursting or losing of electricity and all that. A lot of times when we meet with a string of all these incidences, we tend to ask ourselves, what bad luck am I going through? Right? And of course, the Buddha's teaching is not about bad luck. The Buddha's teaching is all about causes and conditions, and when things are, arising, is always subject to perishing. Yeah. So most of us are so focused on enjoying all the goodness of life that we all do go through. We cannot say that life is without happiness, right? Although they are very short-lived sometimes, but sometimes we do have experiences of happiness in longer periods. But in between, they are peppered with some kind of challenges, right? About ourselves, about the family members, friends we know, our jobs, everything. So this is the nature of the world. The Buddha has always mentioned that if we really want to live with peace and happiness and to see things as they are, then we have to see that the 6 sense bases in contact with the external forms or whatever factors, right? Eye to forms, ear to sounds, nose to smell, mouth to taste, and skin to touch, and mind through mental activities. And of course, all these 5 senses has to also be centered by the mind. So we are also used to just expecting things to happen the way we think we can control. But I think most of us find out by now, after learning Buddhism and after going through life, that there are many things in life that we really can't control. Although sometimes it looks like we can control. We plan for something, then it goes the way we want it. So we think that we can actually control things. But a lot of times it depends on causes and conditions coming together to support whatever is happening to happen. Okay, so while I was actually going through these few days here and talking to devotees and all that, many of us who don't get things happening the way we want them, sometimes we get frustrated, we get depressed, we get unhappy, right? So all these things are very conditioned things. And we have been through this since maybe many lifetimes before, which we don't know. But at least in this very lifetime, I think from very young we've been brought up to really just hope that things will operate in a very satisfactory manner. Yeah, and when changes come, are we able to just deal with them without really getting emotional about it or getting into depression or frustration? Many of us actually can't handle those things without going through all those emotions. It's just like the very popular saying that when it's dark, don't complain about the darkness. Go and get a light. Light a candle, bring a torch, whatever. Don't just say it's so dark, it's so dark, it's so dark, right? So we are all still so conditioned by all those teachings, by those conditioned, data that's been given to us, the teachings, how we deal with situations. We complain, we blame others and all those things, but rarely do we really want to look at the true nature of things, which is impermanence. Things change, right? So for tonight, I think the exercise would be, I'm not sure what kind of techniques you're using. Another thing that I would like to remind everyone is that when you have found a teacher who has taught you a meditation technique or techniques that works for you, then maybe we should just stick with the teacher. Now, how do we know whether it works for us or not? Okay, when you actually are able to use a technique and apply it according to the teacher's instructions, and you find that your mind is able to be peaceful and calm, and it actually has an impact on your life to make you a better person, to be a more friendly person without being too reactive, I think that is good enough for us to say that I think I have found a teacher who has taught me a technique that works for me. Well, at least this is how I guide myself. I don't go around when I listen to, oh, this teacher is good, that teacher is good. I just don't go around and learn from everybody. As long as I know that the teacher has taught me a technique which is working in my meditation, getting me into a peace and calm, stillness of the mind, and changing me into a better person, I know I'm on the right path. Yeah, because there are so many teachings and so many teachers right now. You just press onto the internet, you can find so many teachings, and at the end of the day, you get so confused. Shall I follow this teacher or shall I follow that teacher? So these are things that I remind myself not to do so that I can just be focused on a teacher whom I have faith and confidence in and who has taught me a technique that I know I can apply for myself. So for tonight, the important exercise for us is really to look at the mind. I mean, that's the Buddha's teaching, looking at the mind, right? So before you go into your stillness of the mind, I'm quite sure most of us will spend a little time just to calm our mind down. While we are going through that process, just focus on the thoughts arising, right? Just focus on the thoughts arising and understand whether it's a wholesome or unwholesome thought, and then try to let it go. So during this process of meditation or contemplation before our mind is still, we are trying to see whether we are being mindful with full awareness, and are we able to let go. At the same time, we also need to know whether there is impermanence or not. And that can easily be observed when our mind actually have one thought. You understand it, let it go, another thought comes. It's different kind of thoughts, another kind of nature that is not connected to the first thought. So this is the impermanent nature of our mind. Right? So we try to observe it, and then we understand that, well, even my own mind is so impermanent. So how can anything else be so permanent? Because everything is driven by the mind. That's the Buddha's teaching, watching our mind. So for tonight, let's go through this exercise. But don't keep on letting the thoughts arise and then watching it. And don't even label it. I don't really label thoughts arising or whatever. I'm just aware of it, know the nature of it, and then just let it go. So how do I let it go? I use my breath meditation. I come back to my breath. So again, while you are coming back to your breath, maybe after 1 or 2 counts, your mind may give rise to another thought. That is the nature of our untrained mind. So there's no way to stop the mind from thinking. There's no way. But we can try to train ourselves to come back to the focus of what is happening right now, here, in the present moment. That is the in and out breath. This is how I use my breathing exercise to pull back any scattered thoughts that may arise every now and then before I settle down into good meditation. So perhaps tonight we can just do that and every time the thought arises, be aware of it, know the nature of it. All these are very fast, processes. It's so fast, one thought after another. But you just keep on letting go, coming back to your breath, letting go, coming back to your breath. Then you can realize that there's so much impermanence happening every time. Even with our own mind, it's so impermanent. Can we really rely on this impermanence of the mind that changes its thoughts all the time? So these are the teachings that we hope we can try to focus on for today, right? And slowly, when you are able to let go of all those thoughts arising and anchor your focus on your breath, then maybe you can go into a better meditation. All right, shall we do that? And for our friend here who is a beginner, you are sitting there on the chair, so you just try to see whether you can just follow what I have just mentioned. And if you need further instructions, maybe on Friday you can come for the beginner's class. Okay. So right now you just try to fit in, because who knows? Maybe in your past life you have been meditating and may just pick up very quickly. Okay. So just watch the mind, and then I'm not sure whether everybody is using the breath meditation, but if you are, I think after all this what they call vitakka and vichara, all this application of the mind and sustaining of the mind, finally you will be able to anchor it on your breathing. So if you're not able to focus on the breath, it doesn't matter, not here. You don't have to focus on here. If it's too subtle, you can focus on here, right? I won't focus on the chest because it's a very short breath coming to the chest. Focus on the breathing in right down to the abdomen if you can, all right? The rising and falling of the abdomen. And of course, the other teachers will be teaching us to use the word Buddho on every in and out breath that we have, right? So Buddho means to be awakened, to really be awakened. Buddho, be awakened. So the Buddha has taught us that all of us can be awakened to the universal truth if we know how to apply the teachings correctly. So meditation is one of those that we have to be consistent in practice in order to understand the theoretical knowledge that we have about the Buddha's teaching. Yeah. So this is something that the Buddha can teach us through meditation, where we can realize that things are so impermanent and there's really nothing we can control. It's all causes and conditions coming together. And everything that arises through condition, it will perish. It will cease. Okay, so all the what they call the existence, the formation, the existence, and the cessation is all processes of nature. Okay, so we won't go further. We'll just have a very quiet view. I think up to 8:30, right? Yeah, of quiet meditation together. Okay, I don't like to give instructions when experienced meditators are doing their meditation, because it interferes with the flow of thoughts, or even interfere with the process of the anchoring of and focusing of the mind. So a lot of times, if I'm with a group of experienced meditators, I prefer to just meditate with them, and then we can discuss what happens later on. Okay, is that okay? All right, we shall start now. I have said I don't have my phone on for anything else, but just for the alarm, because I like to practice meditate. I like to meditate with all of you. I don't need to really focus on what time it is. So 8:30, there will be a meditation alarm happening. All right. So shall we dim the lights? Yeah. Thank you. Now, if you really feel that you have to change your position of your legs or whatever, please go ahead, do it with mindfulness, right? As gently as you can get, yeah, if you need to change your position. And if you really need to go out for a little walking meditation, if you really need that in this short period, then you are also welcome to do that. Otherwise, just try to sit here, because while sitting down, it is easier to focus. At least for me, I find it's easier to focus. But if you find that after a day's work, your mind is very scattered, you cannot really focus, maybe a little bit of walking meditation, if you know how the techniques are being applied, it will help you to unify your mind. All right, let's start now, okay? I'll just give a little ring. That was a very quick meditation. We meditated for about almost 44 minutes. I think so. Was it about yeah, 7:44? Yeah. So actually, that's one thing that I also like to share with you, because I heard one talk from Ajahn Brahm about, some of our meditation teachers who teach us how to rub our hands after meditation and then just rub our face and rub certain parts of our body. Ajahn Brahm doesn't teach those things, and I heard from one of his talks that he doesn't teach all these things, but I didn't hear the front part. I couldn't get to the front part. So I just wanted to mention to all of you that most of our Chinese meditation teachers, I think sometimes even in yoga teachers also, they actually have mentioned that when we are actually meditating, if we are really focused, our blood circulation and our energy, which the Chinese call qi, they circulate well. And that's how they unblock all our qi channels and also blood vessels. So meditation does help us physically. And because when we are meditating with our palms together like that, sometimes the energy can be accumulated here. So by rubbing, even if we are not meditating, even by rubbing, I think the Chinese teachers used to tell us, even by rubbing, you actually generate a lot of heat. And the heat there can actually help to circulate, help us to circulate the energy that's inside us if it's not circulating well. Especially for those of us who are in our elderly age. Sitting in meditation this way, sometimes our knees and our back do feel a little bit sore. Maybe sometimes not a little bit sore, but very sore. So before we attempt to stand up or get up, right, we really rub there. You can try that. You can see the difference. I know I can feel the difference. Before I get up, I rub my knees, especially knees here. And why do I have a shawl covering? Because our teachers always tell us that unless you have thick, garments or pants or whatever, when we are meditating, especially in areas like Singapore, where I come from, a lot of times it's so hot, so they put the aircon blasting at very high low temperature. So when we are meditating with our legs crossed like that, our pores are actually open. And that's when the cold may get into our system, our bones. And I'm quite sure that many of us have heard of how many people are suffering from knee pains, correct? So this is the reason why even in Newbury, which is so cold, we always provide either shawls or blankets for people who come in unprepared to at least cover their knees while they're meditating. It does help. It does help. So even when you rub your hands while it's warm and you put it over your aching back or any places where you find a little bit of pain, it does help. Especially the elderly, we discuss all this rubbing business, right? And they say, yes, Ayya, it does help. It does help. And especially when you may be anemic or something like that, I'm not too sure. Sometimes when you actually get up from your seat and you feel a little bit unbalanced, the thing is to really stand still, right? And then try to visualize the energy from your head coming down all the way to the sole of your feet. It helps to stabilize. Now, our Chinese teachers always tell us how to take care of our body, take care of our mind. At times, you even teach us how to take care of our diet, because all of us are made up of the 4 elements, right? We all know we are all made up of the 4 elements, just like nature. Nature is also 4 elements. So in winter time, what kind of food is suitable for what kind of body, right? We don't just follow the cultural or traditional kind of food that our parents encourage us to eat or whatever, or something that we love to eat. So all these things actually help to build a good physique, a good body, and then also hopefully to have less sicknesses, right? So that we can actually have better mental, health, and hopefully leading to good meditation. Yeah. So this is the reason why a lot of teachers, Chinese teachers especially, probably you find it in the Mahayana teaching side. I'm not too sure about Theravada. I rarely come across a Theravada teacher who come and teach us to rub your hands and then put it on your face, put it on your neck area, especially, sometimes you have a little pain here at the back, and rub your knees, your thighs and all that before you come up, before you stand up. It does help. Okay, so if any teachers are asking, why are you doing all these strange things? It's Ayya Upekkha who is learned from the Chinese teachers. Yeah, when we were in Taiwan, even those in China, yeah, our teachers, even in Singapore, they always teach us to do this after meditation, especially when we're sitting for a long time. Yeah, and for those of you who may not have sat for a long time, but are starting to feel the needles and pins and all this numbness and all those things, all the more all this rubbing can help before you stand up. Otherwise, you lose your balance. Yeah, so it does help. So if you believe in it, you can try it. But if you think that it won't work, then it doesn't matter. Not everybody finds a technique that works for everybody. You just find something that works for you. Okay? All right? Okay, so now we'd like to see whether there's any questions.
Thank you, Ajahn, for the peaceful meditation and also the tips before we come out the meditation. Just quick announcement before we proceed the Q&A. We have another sit tomorrow night, 7:30, with a lay person. And Monday to Thursday night at 7 p.m., meditation, a healthy habit, 20 minutes monastic sit, twice per week, guided night meditation on our Discord channel. New Day, New Mind, daily meditation group that you can join anytime between 4 a.m. and 6:30 Melbourne time, also on Discord channel. So coming Sunday, Dhamma talk will led by Chi Guan Sumin and followed by the communal lunch. And next Monday night will be Ajahn Sadhoro to lead in the guided meditation. So now I'm going to open the question to the floor. If you have any question, feel free to raise your hand.
Any questions? Yes, there's one question. There was one.
I don't know if you remember me. My name is Nona. I used to come to East Bentley. I live there.
I really can't see you because it's quite dim behind. Yeah.
Have a few words with you when afterwards, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Hi. I don't know if you remember me. I used to come to East Bentley when you lived in there. And Nona.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming back again.
To see you.
Yeah, thank you.
If I can see you, have you for a couple of minutes afterwards, if it's possible, just say
sure. Sure.
It's really nice to see you.
Glad to have you back. I will reconnect afterwards.
Yes, nice to see you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So if there's no question.
Just a question
because
online.
Most of them are experienced meditators. I'm quite sure they know what they're doing. Yeah. And
there's a question online.
Yeah.
So the question is, right now I'm learning the karma meditation.
Karma?
Yeah, which is about making peace, being kind, being gentle to whatever arises in the moment. The three samkappa, being gentle. For example, when we are cold, put a blanket on you. I say that I don't have much problem with that, but the other two are confusing. So the other two is making peace, sounds like being kind. So how to practice them in the meditation? So I think the other two is referred to being kind and making peace.
Making peace and kind.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Ajahn Brahm's teaching. Be gentle, be kind, and make peace, right? So while in meditation, you can do that. While we are meditating right now, if like I'm meditating and I feel that my body is actually not able to really sit still, so how do I be kind to myself, right? So sometimes it's due to a body ache or pain, or sometimes it's due to restlessness due to a day's work or whatever. If you really feel that you cannot sit still for the beginning period of the meditation, I will really suggest that I go out for a little walking meditation, just to be peaceful at that time, instead of just gritting your teeth and forcing yourself to sit through. Yeah. So she was mentioning about, is it a he or she? I'm not too sure. But anyway, the mention was that if it's cold, just throw a shawl or blanket over you. Yep, that's easy, right? But if your legs are hurting or whatever, don't just tolerate it. You can change your position, unless you're able to, have that kind of meditation where you can look at the pain and detach from the pain. Yeah, that's another level of meditation, to detach from owning the pain. Yeah, so this is when you are actually being kind to yourself, you find some peace following up instead of just tolerating. Right. So all these are little things. When I was beginning to sit in meditation, my knees were actually pointing sky high. I couldn't actually get my knees to be level like that. So what do? It's so painful and all that. So as a beginner, right, I will just put maybe a cushion under or whatever, and slowly after meditation, I slowly rub and loosen my muscles. And after practicing for a few months, you just are able to sit comfortably. Yeah. So all these are little ways to be kind to ourselves. When we are kind to ourselves, we'll find peace naturally. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure whether it answers the question. This is what I would do during meditation, right? If you need to, I was actually teaching those on Saturday how to do walking meditation and standing meditation. For instance, if really you cannot sit still, sometimes our mind is so burdened with duties and we worry about things that we have not done. This is something that is so common in those of us who cannot let go, right? So what I would encourage the meditators to do is, if you have no place to go for walking meditation, at least you do standing meditation. It is much more easier instead of just sitting there and letting your mind go wild with all those thoughts. It's really very difficult. Yeah. So the other way is, if you are really feeling very sleepy and all that, I wouldn't force myself to really meditate if I'm very, very tired. Sometimes you're so tired that even when you're standing in meditation, you can fall asleep too. Yeah. That's when the body is crying out for some rest. So be kind, go and rest. Yeah, don't force ourselves don't force the body to do something that the body cannot tolerate anymore. I always feel that it is very good to be kind to our body. Yeah, and then once the body is actually quite peaceful, then the mind can become more peaceful. I hope it answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayya. Any question from the floor?
If there's no more question, we'll call it a night. And we can reconnect. Is that okay? And hopefully you all can come back here to meditate again, because I really feel that to have a place like this for meditation is really very important, because unless you have a very quiet place in your own house, right, to meditate, otherwise, having a quiet place like this with our other practitioners together, it is very motivational to see that everyone is coming to do the same thing. Yeah, and especially when all of you are already experienced meditators, yeah, that would be so much easier. Yeah, so I was actually discussing with Ajahn Sadharo about how he deals with beginners, with experienced meditators. So we encourage the beginners to go for the beginners class, pick up the techniques, practice every day at home, and then come and join the experience class on Monday and Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday is by lay teachers. So personally, I know that there are students who have mentioned that it is so nice to be given that silence for them to really practice their meditation instead of listening to guided meditation for beginners when they already know what they have to do. Yeah, so this is the reason why we have to sort of like separate the different classes to be conducive to the practitioners. Yeah. So I just hope that you managed to do something just now, at least watch the mind, how the mind is being restless or thinking and all that. Yeah. Yeah. So this is very natural. Yeah. There's no way we can stop the mind from thinking. But we can try to not let it go wild by training ourselves through the focus of the breath meditation. Okay? All right. All right. So thank you all so much for being here. Yeah. And thank you those online too. Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you, Shan, for being here.
Yep. Thank you, Ayang. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to thank. I see. We have to thank BSV for opening up this place for everyone to come. Yeah. Thank you.